Welcome, everyone. I'm the storyteller. Please keep calm. Leave me in the background and let me tell you an actually scary story under the sound of the rain. The story's name is The Haunting Whispers. Eleanor had never been afraid of the dark. As a child, she would wander the halls of her family's massive estate at night, trailing her fingers along the walls, feeling the cool, ancient wood beneath her fingertips. The house had been in her family for generations, and she had always felt at home within its walls. Until now, it started with the whispers. At first, she thought it was just the wind sneaking through the cracks of the old house. But as the days passed, the whispers became clearer, more distinct. They slithered through the air, brushing against her ears in the dead of night. Words she couldn't quite understand, spoken in a voice that was neither male nor female, neither young nor old. Then came the tapping. It started softly, a rhythmic knock, knock, knock against the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Always 3 taps. Eleanor convinced herself it was the old pipes settling, but deep down, she knew better. One evening, as she sat in the dim glow of the fire, she heard the sound of footsteps above her. Slow, deliberate. The wooden floor groaned under the weight of something unseen. The hairs on her arms stood on end. She wasn't alone. Taking a deep breath, Eleanor grabbed the flashlight from the mantel and ascended the stairs. The steps creaked beneath her, protesting each hesitant step. At the end of the long corridor, the attic door stood slightly ajar. She didn't remember leaving it open. A sharp chill ran down her spine as she approached. The air was thick, heavy with something she couldn't name. She pushed the door open wider, her flashlight slicing through the darkness. Dust motes swirled in the beam, but beyond them, something shifted. A shadow, darker than the night, lingered in the farthest corner. The whispers returned, this time louder, urgent. Eleanor's breath hitched as she aimed the flashlight directly at the figure. The light revealed an old rocking chair, moving ever so slightly as if someone had just stood up from it. But the room was empty. The air around her grew icy, and the whispers turned to hissing. The tapping resumed, rapid now, coming from inside the walls. Knock, 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 knock. Her heart pounded as she backed away. The attic door slammed shut on its own. Eleanor turned and ran down the hall, but as she reached the stairs, the whispering voice spoke one clear, chilling word. Stay. The temperature in the house plummeted, her breath now visible in the dim light. The shadows in the hallway stretched unnaturally, twisting toward her like grasping hands. Suddenly, she felt a breath on the back of her neck. Whipping around, she came face to face with something that wasn't there, yet she could feel it, a presence, looming, watching, waiting. The house had always belonged to her family, but now she realized it no longer. Now we are going for the second story, Midnight Reflection. Lena had always been drawn to antique mirrors. There was something about their aged glass, the way they held onto reflections like whispers of the past. So when she found an ornate Victorian mirror at a small, dusty antique shop, she knew she had to have it. The shopkeeper hesitated when she reached for it. Some things shouldn't be brought home, he murmured, but took her money anyway. That night, Lena placed the mirror in her bedroom, directly across from her bed. As she studied its intricate gold frame, she noticed the glass had a strange, almost liquid depth to it. She touched its cool surface and shivered. At midnight, she woke with a start. The room was silent, but something felt off. The air was thick, unmoving. Her eyes drifted to the mirror. Her reflection was sitting up. Lena's breath caught in her throat. She wasn't moving, but the woman in the mirror was. Her reflection tilted its head, dark eyes locked onto hers. Then slowly, it began to smile. A wrong, distorted grin. Paralyzed, Lena could only watch as the reflection lifted its hand and pressed it against the glass. On her side, her own hand remained frozen by her side. The air grew colder. The grin widened, lips stretching too far, too inhumanly wide. Then the reflection whispered, "Let me out." Lena bolted upright, her heart hammering. She snatched her bedside lamp and turned it toward the mirror. The reflection now matched her own, wide-eyed and terrified. It had been a dream, a terrible, vivid dream. She forced a shaky breath, convincing herself it was nothing. But as she leaned closer to inspect the mirror, she noticed something. Faint fingerprints on the inside of the glass. Lena didn't sleep the rest of the night. Over the next few days, the reflection changed. Sometimes it would lag, moving just a second too late. Other times, it would stand still even when she walked past. And always that twisted smile threatened to return. One evening, as she turned to leave the room, she caught a glimpse of something impossible. The reflection's mouth moved, forming a single, soundless word. Tonight. Lena threw a sheet over the mirror and tried to ignore the sensation of something watching her from beneath it. She barely slept, every sound making her jolt awake. At exactly midnight, a sharp, splintering crack echoed through the room. She sat up, heart pounding. The sheet had slipped to the floor. The mirror was fractured, jagged lines running through the glass like veins. And from those cracks, something moved. Dark fingers pressed against the inside of the mirror. A shadowed figure shifted behind the splintered surface, its grin stretching wide. Lena scrambled back, but the mirror trembled, the glass warping as something pushed against it. A single whisper slithered through the air, sending ice through her veins. No more waiting. The last thing Lena saw was her reflection stepping forward out of the mirror before everything went black.